American Girl. If you were a kid growing up in the 2000s, or even previous decades for that matter, there's a good chance you've heard of these iconic dolls. Whether you owned one yourself, played with them at your friend's house, or just spent time reading up on their books or magazines, this brand was and is so nostalgic and special to so many people's childhoods. From starting off with only 3 historical dolls in 1986 to creating even more doll lines down the road like Truly Me, or Bitty Babies, to books, catalogs, magazines, video games, clothes. There is so much we can talk about when it comes to the American Girl doll brand. But today, I want us to come together and focus on one particular thing. Something that has stuck with so many of us since we were small. Something that many of us may have forgotten or it's tucked away in the back of our subconscious. And that is the American Girl doll website and old Flash games. My name is Maya and this is your dose of 2000s nostalgia. Today, we are diving into the lore of the American Girl doll website and all of its amazing games. From the historical world of the characters to grooming and walking virtual pets, the games on this website were so fun and memorable and so special to so many 2000s kids. But what happened to these games? Can you still play them today? Where did they go? Which games were the best and which were the absolute worst? Make sure to grab a snack and get comfy, grab your favorite comfort doll or toy, and let's dive into the American Girl website.
AmericanGirl.com, the place for girls.
I first want to discuss a little bit of background on American Girl dolls for anyone who doesn't know or for those who just want a little bit more lore on the dolls before we jump into their online games. American Girl dolls first released on May 5th, 1986 by Pleasant Company. A woman by the name of Pleasant Rowland decided she wanted to create a line of dolls that educated young girls on American history. She wanted the dolls to be around the same age as her target audience so that girls could relate to different qualities and characteristics of the historical dolls' personalities. Even if the doll came from a very different background or time period, kids still felt as though that their American Girl was their best friend and someone they could relate and admire. Each doll came dressed in an outfit that represented her time period and a book that told a little bit more of her story. They had tons of different outfits and pieces in their collection. I remember checking out their books in the elementary school libraries and learning even more about their personalities and their stories. Mine originally started off with 3 historical dolls. There was Samantha Parkington from 1904. She represents the progressive era or the turn of the 20th century in America. Sometimes the dolls would also have a best friend doll as part of their collection. Samantha would have her best friend Nellie O'Malley join her collection in 2004. This was to celebrate the release of the Samantha movie, which starred the iconic Anna Sophia Robb. The next doll was Kirsten Larson, who represented the middle 1800s Western European immigration and pioneer era. Her and her family traveled over to the United States from Sweden. And one big part of her story is that her friend Marta dies of cholera and never makes it to Minnesota with her. I think that must have been pretty traumatic for a lot of kids to read. And then we have Molly McIntyre representing the 1940s and World War II era. Molly also had a friend, Emily Bennett, join her collection later in 2006. I ended up loving Emily because of the release of the movie on Disney Channel in 2006, and I was really excited when I got to own her as a kid. Once we enter the year 2000, there are a total of 7 girls that are part of the historical line. Felicity Merriman was released in 1991, representing English colonial America in the early American Revolutionary War period in 1775. She is also a horse girl, and if you ever do watch her movie and you play a little drinking game, every single time she says her horse's name, Penny, you take a drink. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. And fun fact, that is also baby Shailene Woodley. Later, her best friend Elizabeth Cole was added to the collection in 2005. And then we have Addie Walker, who joins the girls in 1993. She represents the Civil War era, and in her first Meat book, Addie and her mother escape slavery and settle in Philadelphia, where the rest of her story takes place. Josefina Montoya is the sixth American girl, and she is introduced in 1997. She lives on a rancho with her father, and she represents the New Mexico area that was under Mexican rule at the time in 1825. Kit Kittredge is the seventh doll added in the year 2000. Kit represents the Great Depression era in 1934. Her best friend Ruthie Smithens would later join her in 2008 to help promote Kit's movie. And yes, she is played by the Queen Abigail Breslin. She killed it. I'll never forget Christmas morning in 2005. For then, I would spend hours flipping through cozy American Girl doll catalogs, looking through each and every historical doll and her collection. I think every child who experienced this connects with one of the dolls. That's a part of what makes the American Girl doll experience so unique. It feels like there's one doll for every child, and that doll is yours. That's the doll that you resonate with and is your forever best friend. And on that Christmas morning, I saw that rectangular box under the Christmas tree, and I knew it was the one thing I'd been begging for ever since I saw her in the catalog. I tore it open, and there she was, Kit Kittredge. Call me basic if you want. I absolutely loved Kit growing up, and I was so excited to have her. I got her Christmas outfit that year so we could spend Christmas together, and she had her own set of pajamas so we could go to bed together. American Girl dolls also just felt so cozy and special during Christmas time, and this experience is why these dolls are so important to both children and adults today. The American Girl doll brand would actually expand past the historical doll line. There were other doll lines like Bitty Baby or Truly Me that was released in 1995. There were also Pets, and there were Girl of the Year dolls, which were limited edition dolls that represented each year they were released, starting in 2001. Now, the unfortunate thing about these dolls is that they were and are still very expensive, but there were still other ways that children were able to connect with these dolls without having to own one of them themselves. American Girl had their own magazines that you could subscribe to with fun activities and quizzes. And not only were there the historical books, but there were some other educational books with images that are scarred into our brains. And then there was the American Girl website. While the internet was taking off in the 2000s, many companies and brands were hopping on the trend of interactive websites and flash games for kids. And there are so many of them that were so memorable and fun, and American Girl knew they had to hop in on the trend. Mattel actually purchased the American Girl doll brand in 1998, and if you got to check out my last video, you would also know that Mattel had a ton of other flash games and websites using the website everythinggirl.com. Since AmericanGirl.com had a few different categories of games based on their different lines of toys, I figured we would go by category until we make our way over to the historical dolls last. That way we can also talk about the website itself and we can kind of watch it grow together. Please also keep in mind I'm going to try to be as accurate as I can when it comes to the time frame and the year that each one of these games came out. I'm going based off of what I was able to find through research and the Wayback Machine. This older version of the website no longer exists, so it's difficult to know 100% what game was added at what time. There are also other parts of the websites like quizzes, polls, trivia, activities, and more, but I want us to mainly focus on the games because this is really the part of the website that so many of us remember and love. So without further ado, let's start with the iconic pet games on AmericanGirl.com. In 2003, we were introduced to our white crusty dog friend, Coconut. I'm kidding, Coconut deserves better than that. She's not like other crusty dogs, she's a cool crusty white dog. Coconut was originally released in the year 2000 as a boy, and then she was re-released again and remarketed in 2001 as a girl. Coconut wasn't tied to any of the historical dolls, she was kind of just marked as like an accessory to any of the dolls. Once you accessed her part of the website, you could download cute wallpaper, send e-cards, and play her game. Coconut also gained a black cat friend named Licorice that same year. I had Licorice as a kid. Some of the earlier Coconut games included Coconut's Concentration Game, where you would match up the different pictures of Coconut and Licorice. There was Coconut's Day in the Park, where you use your mouse to control Coconut and catch falling bones and butterflies. You also have to make sure to jump over this ball or you'll lose energy every time you're hit. The next game is Party Pals. You play as Coconut and Licorice as you use your mouse to jump and collect treats. Licorice can jump higher than Coconut, so you help her to jump first to grab the present and then have Coconut jump after to grab the treat. Avoid bees and jump over obstacles along the way. I need you to understand how excited I was whenever I first heard this song too. It's the Club Penguin Pizza Parlor music, you guys. Someone get hype with me. This game is really cute, and I also like that they give you a chance to grab a present that will keep you indestructible for a short period of time. 2004 is the year that we get the one and only NetPet game. NetPet was a little pet simulation game where you got to pick a dog or a cat, give them a name, and take care of them. There was a menu panel in the upper left corner that allowed you to select from different options. You could feed your pet, play with them, and train them. I spent so much time playing this one as a kid. I believe that the website also would remember your pets and keep them saved for you. I'm not sure if there was a limit on that, but I loved owning as many as I could and giving them all sorts of really cute names and taking care of them like they were my own. I was also super insulted when my dog would jump up on the couch or my cat would scratch it up. I was like, please, Muffin, I raised you better than this. It honestly stressed me out when they would not listen to me and I would absolutely spam the buttons.
Bad dog, bad dog, bad dog.
I loved the little TV and all of the little noises in this game. It all just has such a comforting and nostalgic feel to it. I do remember I was a little bit disappointed later because they removed the random dogs and cats and replaced them with American Girl's already licensed pets, like Coconut and Licorice. And while the choices are cute, I feel like it kind of took away from the pets feeling like your own, that you got to name, that you got to adopt. I don't see why they couldn't have just had both options. If you wanted to choose Coconut or Licorice to play with, that's fine, but also give the option to own your own random dog or cat. Overall, this game was so sweet and fun and still enjoyable to revisit today. And as you can also see, this game has a bit of a different art style that we are going to continue to see on other games throughout this website. These specific Flash games are from creator Fairy Hellum, who created these more whimsical, relaxing, and overall aesthetically pleasing games. Many of his games were added to a website called Arsenal Morning Sunshine, and he continued to make games for American Girl, and they are some of the best games on the website. You're going to continue to hear me reference it because they are honestly just so good. Some more NetPet games were also added to the website in 2005. There's Pet Pickup, where you choose a pet and jump around the room collecting toys and avoiding animals in your path. There's something so peaceful about the music in these games. They did end up again changing this later to their licensed dog and cat characters, which was sad because I enjoyed playing this game as this adorable little bunny. I wish they would have added bunnies to the NetPet games. Morning Walk is such a special game. The music still lives in my mind. I spent so much time as an 8-year-old playing this game, really trying to get good at it, because I was so excited every time I got a little bit further and got a new dog added to my leash. It was like a little reward at the end when you'd get the dachshund. Did I just get run over by a butterfly? And yes, again, they later changed the dog characters. Why did they do this? It was perfect before. I mean, I get it. You want the games to feel more American Girl, so you use your own characters in the games. Doesn't make sense. But I feel like it took away from the more personal feeling that the game had. Does anyone else feel this way, or do I just have nostalgia goggles on? I usually do. Regardless, this is one of my favorite American Girl games of all time and probably one of my favorite Flash games of all time as well. The Pets on the Net area of the website also had a little quiz on what pet you should get and honestly asked some pretty relevant questions for a kid if they were genuinely wanting to beg their parents for a new pet. All pets are a huge responsibility and require different levels of care, so it was really cute and nice to see the quiz taken pretty seriously. Snack Time was a game added early on in the year 2007. You swap the snacks around so that they land on the correct pet. All of the pets here are pets from each of the American Girl dolls, which is really cute. This game is a little slow at first, but it picks up after a while. A new dress-up game was added for Coconut and Licorice, where you set the scene, dress them up, and place cute stickers around them. Nothing crazy. And at the end of the year in October, Autumn Frolic is added. The game is cute, but oh my god, that squirrel is a goddamn menace. And Coconut, please come back. Stop running away from me. 3 years later, once 2010 rolls around, we get a very iconic pet game. This game is a fan favorite and for good reason. The Pet Grooming Studio game is truly one of the last games I ever played on this website. One day I hopped on American Girl, not realizing it would be my last time, and this is the game I was met with. And I'm really glad that I did because it's so adorable and fun. You can play in time mode or free mode. Free mode allows you to choose between any of the pets available and wash them, brush their fur, trim their nails, brush their teeth, and add some cute accessories at the end. Time mode was pretty much the same thing, only you would be timed as you try to groom as many pets as you possibly can. It always drove me nuts when the meter was so close to the top and you couldn't find that one spot you were missing. This game has so much charm and is definitely a top favorite. We also get pet sledding the same year, where you choose your dog and sled down this mountain, collecting gifts and avoiding rocks. It's a cute game and pretty enjoyable. Most sledding games are pretty simple, and you can easily go back to them and just keep trying to beat your high score. Chocolate Course is a new game that features their puppy pal Chocolate. Oh my god, she is so cute. Help guide Chocolate through a little obstacle course, jumping over hurdles and weaving her way through poles. Pepper's Frisbee Fun was so freaking cute. You aim your frisbee in the air for Pepper to catch at the end. I couldn't get over how awesome the art was with the scenery in the background, all of the little people running around, the entire vibe. Adorable. Pet soccer is exactly what you think it is. Pick your team of doggo friends and go head to head in this little soccer match. This game was actually pretty enjoyable and I could see kid Maya really enjoying playing this with her friends. Adult Maya too. I also noticed later on in 2011 there was a game on the website called Coconut's Cards. It looks like it's supposed to be a solitaire game featuring Coconut. Couldn't find a workable version of the game, but Flashpoint says that it was released in 2004. Which would make sense because the art style definitely reflects that. Does anyone remember this one? Toasty at the Farm is another adorable game that I never played before. You help this little shepherd dog named Toasty herd some sheep over to the farm while also shooing this little wolf away from them. In 2012, we get Amazing Meatloaf, where you drop bones on the ground to lure Meatloaf the dog across a path and reach the goal of a yummy steak at the end. Obstacles are pretty challenging to avoid, and if you touch the flowers surrounding you, you lose the game. Honestly, a really great addition to the website. I ended up finding the game later under the name Amazing Pet Park, instead with a generic dog. I assume American Girl updated this later after their dog character Meatloaf retired in 2014. RIP Meatloaf. And that is the last of the pet games added to the website, at least under the actual pet category. There was another section of the website called A Doll's Journey, where American Girl added different games and activities surrounding countries and locations around the world for kids to learn about. There weren't very many, but some of them did feature our pet friends. Let's take a look at A Doll's Journey before we move forward with our other games. I'm not 100% sure which location was added first on the website, but I'm going based off of what I think as I went and navigated through the website myself. I believe our first stop is Paris. An American Girl in Paris is a Frogger style of game where you play as a girl and her pal Coconut. Your goal is to run across the streets of Paris as many times as you can. while avoiding obstacles and collecting stamps to earn lives. Singapore is next. Singapore gets a game called Mahjong Mania, and this is the first time I'm realizing this is like the same game as Tile Towers and Webkins. Your goal is to clear the board by matching 2 tiles, but they can't be surrounded by other tiles. I did a little bit of research and learned that Mahjong Solitaire is a well-known game itself using Mahjong tiles that originated in China. I learn something new every day. Then we have Australia. The game Outback Wins is added, where you play as a kangaroo, jumping up to help his koala friend spring into the air to catch petals. This is seriously an adorable game for no reason. Okay, I also had a crazy discovery while journeying through this website. The American Girl website on June 13th, 2006 says that there's a new game coming to the website called Seahorse Roundup. I honestly thought this game was a fever dream. A Doll's Journey adds Belize, most likely because of our Girl of the Year, Jess. Her story takes place in Belize. This game does not match the American Girl aesthetic in any way, shape, or form. It was such an odd and random choice, but I genuinely loved playing this one as a kid. I was wondering where this game was hidden in the back of my subconscious, and I was really surprised to discover it was through American Girl. It really feels like Mattel saw a developer create this game and was like, oh yeah, let's just take that one, it's pretty cool, and we'll just say it's because of Belize and Jess, and we'll just make it make sense. Hawaii is also added to A Doll's Journey with a game called Wahine Hula Hustle. Oh my god, I did not know how to play this game at first and was so confused when all these little hula dancers started dropping off into the void. Why am I flinging these poor girls around? This game is so weird. What does this have to do with hula dancing? Why is Coconut allowing this? London is added and gets a game called Underground Go Round, where you are given a destination in London and have to put together a puzzle for each place. The more puzzles you complete, the more pieces you get to a poster that you can print out and keep. Tanzania is the last game added to A Doll's Journey in 2008. And it brings us the game Coconut Safari. Clearly, I am just a world-renowned photographer. Should have picked photography major over illustration major, am I right? So pretty, wow. American Girl had some amazing seasonal games. During the year when the seasons began to change or the holidays rolled around, American Girl would add these sweet little games, usually in Fairy Helem style. The first one was added in 2005 called Snowboard Betty. A lot of the time, these games usually did not feature their historical doll characters. They were just cute little random girl characters in each one. This game is really fun and iconic, and who doesn't like a cute little snowboard game? I know I do. I saw that in 2005 there was a game called Dream Hoops added, and I feel like I have a weird, faint memory of this game. I could just be making this up. I feel like it was the Fairy Helen style, and maybe that character from the morning walk, maybe shooting hoops, basketball. I can't find this anywhere. I have no evidence. I could be just yapping. But if anyone knows what this game was, please let me know. Oh my god, I need you to understand how excited I was when I saw the image of this game again. This game, specifically, was wiped from my memory. The game is called Trick for Treats. You play as this adorable little spider queen, releasing her spider friend below and scaring all of the little monsters. Also, something really random, this game did not pop up on the website until 2008, at the very beginning of the year, like February, even though it's a Halloween game. Maybe they were just really late releasing this one. Either way, I loved this game so much as a kid and was really excited to rediscover it. But the one I don't remember is One Magical Night, which must have been added around the time that Trick for Treats was. I genuinely enjoyed playing this game though. It had a little bit more of a challenge to it, and it wasn't super easy to control the witch's broomstick. You had to cast spells on the different spooky creatures as you leveled up, and I really liked how they changed each level. I also liked that you could grab new spells like healing or invisibility. The game was also timed too, which made me want to keep going back and try again. And it got harder each level. The monsters would shrink down and then you would have to hit them again. And then by level 5, the ghosts would need you to hit them twice in a row in a short amount of time to disappear. I love Halloween themed games so much. You could also play this one in multiplayer mode, which I could imagine would be so chaotic and fun with your friends. A game called Bunny Bunnies and Eggs is then released for the spring season, and oh my god, this is the most precious sweet game I have ever seen. Look at these baby bunnies just trying to hop across the river. Rainbow in the back. You guys should have seen me screaming at my computer trying to play this for the first time. I felt so bad when the bunnies would fall into the water. Like, I'm a horrible person. Look at them swimming to shore. I don't remember playing this one at all as a kid if I did. I think around 2008 I was spending a little less time on AmericanGirl.com and more time on websites like Club Penguin or Toontown or even Webkins. I still loved American Girl, but virtual worlds and MMOs were really taking over at the time, and while I feel like this website was really growing and adding a lot of great games, it kind of just got lost in the background in comparison. Another game was added later this year, originally called First Snow, but then was later changed to Frost Fairy, which I think is more fitting. You play as this little winter fairy, circling around leaves to transform them into snowflakes for points. I never played this one before. Some of the seasonal games are weirdly hidden on the website, and I was only able to find them through the site map, which I think is kind of odd. Spring Flowers is a game that popped up on the website early in 2009. You water flowers and shoo bunnies away because they'll hop over and monster chomp them. I did not expect that chomping noise from them. It's a little bit more on the stressful side, but I still enjoyed the game. Felt so bad shooing the bunnies away. First, I let them jump to their death and drown, and now I don't let them eat to survive? American Girl has something against bunnies, I swear. May is the last month with a snapshot in 2009 on the Wayback Machine, so I'm not 100% sure if these games were added before 2010 or not, but it seems like by the fall, there's a game called Pumpkin Bounce. You bounce a pumpkin into the air and score points. This game reminded me of a lamer version of Webkinz Candy Bash. Yes, another Webkinz reference. Leave me alone. And at the end of the year in winter, a game called Winter Whirl is added. By 2010, another game was added that summer that I don't believe I ever played before, Summer Shells. You play as this little swimmer girl diving down into the water to collect seashells. You only have so much time to do so, and your oxygen is limited. If you run into any of the eels, jellyfish, or sharks, they knock your shells to the ground and you're forced to swim back up to the surface. I really enjoyed this game a lot. Music was great, the sound effects were nice, and I really think I would have loved this one. And I always love an aquatic theme. You can also play this one as multiplayer as well. And that is all for our seasonal games on the website. Honestly, some of the best ones here. I got to discover a few that I never played before that I ended up loving. I wonder why. Girl of the Year games. Girl of the Year was started back in 2001 with our very first Girl of the Year, Lindsay Berkman. Lindsay did not get a proper game on the website, kind of hidden away because she didn't really sell very well. From what I've seen, I also don't think she really had a proper story. Most of the Girl of the Year dolls ended up having thing, whether it was an activity that they did or a hobby or a passion of theirs. And I think Lindsay's story didn't really revolve around something like that. So the only thing our poor Lindsay gets is this. Wastebasket activity. Decorate your own trash can. They're calling Lindsay trash if you can't tell. But it's okay because American Girl in 2003 or 2004? I don't know. The Wikipedia page says 2003, but the website itself said 2004. I'm confused. I think it's 2003. American Girl was like, hey, let's try this one more time. Maybe it'll be better this time around. So we got Kaylee Hopkins. She is a surfer girl. She only gets one activity on the website. It's a paper aquarium. Woo! Yippee! Marisol Luna was the Girl of the Year in 2005. She is the first Hispanic Girl of the Year. She is an aspiring dancer, and she's the first Girl of the Year to get her own game, Marisol's Maze. It's not a dancing game, but okay. It's giving lamer version of Webkinz Home Before Dark. Okay, in 2006, we got not only one of the best Girl of the Year games, but one of the best games on the entire website. Jess McConnell is named Girl of the Year. She is the first biracial doll and the first Asian American Girl of the Year, as she is half Japanese. Her parents are both archaeologists, and they traveled to Belize for their job. Jess's game is called Waterfall Jump. I loved playing this one so much as a kid. You help Jess jump down the different rocks and collect these little Mayan symbols for points. This little monkey named Pippi will drop bananas for you for even more points. You pretty much just keep going until you fall to your demise. This game only made me want the Jess doll more. If any of you got to own her, I was truly jealous. Jess also gets another game that year called Belize Beauties, which is just another version of your typical Candy Crush game. Nikki Fleming became Girl of the Year in 2007. Nikki's story is that she lives on a ranch in Colorado with her family, where they raise pigs for slaughter. That's a depressing fun fact. They have horses though. She's also an artist and a skier. Girl just does it all. She gets a game called Nikki's Roundup. You play as Nikki riding on her horse, and she rounds up the pigs that have escaped from her barn. I suddenly feel horrible playing this game now. Run, pigs, run! Our next Girl of the Year is Mia St. Clair in 2008, and she is an ice skater. She comes with a bigger game called A Skater's Dream, and boy did this game make me feel terrible about myself. You play 3 mini games on each page of her scrapbook to unlock a trivia quiz that will allow you to flip through the page and move on to the next. There are a total of 10 mini games within this game. Not only did this game make me feel like an idiot making this horrendous noise every time I failed,
Better luck next time.
then it made me feel bad about my health. I will never give up Diet Pepsi, okay? And then this noise again.
Don't worry. Try again.
It's so dramatic for no reason. God, I miss Jess's waterfall game right now. In all fairness, I will say at least once you're done going through the trauma, you get this more rewarding game at the end. Why does she look like that when she falls down? Krissa Maxwell became Girl of the Year in 2009. I never really liked Krissa's artwork in all honesty. She kind of looked like a 35-year-old PTA mom instead of a 10-year-old. She is also the first Girl of the Year to get her own movie. And from here on out, the rest of the Girl of the Years will usually end up getting their own movie too. Krissa's story is about moving to a new school and learning to stand up for herself when she deals with bullying and peer pressure. She was also released with 2 companion dolls, Sonali and Gwen. Krissa gets 3 games. The first game is Ceramic Studios, which I was just thrown into, and oh my god, why is my score dropping like this? This game sent me into another panic mode like Mia's. Why are these Girl of the Year games stressful for no reason? Also, why did my pot end up looking like that when I put it on the shelf? That was not my beautiful creation, excuse me? So I don't really remember this being a part of Krissa's story. Am I missing something? I just remember this iconic clip. Okay, I looked it up and apparently her dad was into ceramics, so that's my bad. Her second game was called Llamas on the Go because Krissa had a random quirky situation where she just was living with llamas at her house. Her grandparents just owned llamas and I don't think we were really given an explanation for it. We just go with it. The game is cute though. You play as 2 little llamas collecting flowers and trying to avoid bees flying in the air. Your mouse can only keep 1 window at a time open for most of the game, so you have to balance them back and forth and try not to let the other llama buddy get hit with the bees. I liked it. It was a lot better than the last one at least. Last game is a game called Water Balloon Battle. And again, wait, am I missing something? Wait, when was there a water balloon battle? I didn't read the book, in all honesty, but I watched the movie. When was there water balloons involved? So it was a swimmer, right? Why wasn't there like a swimming game? Who are these boys that I'm chucking water balloons at? I'm so confused. The game is fine though, it's pretty much just throwing water balloons and that's basically it. Lainey Holland is Girl of the Year 2010. She loves science and exploring the outdoors. She gets 3 games this year. The first is Lainey's Starry Nights. The directions tell me I click on a constellation and score of 0. Congratulations, bitch. Oh, I was supposed to look at her drawing. That's what I was supposed to do. You know, they always say artists are supposed to be observant, but I proved time and time again that that's just not the case. Sorry, Lainey. The game is cute, but I could see it getting competitive after a little while. Pizza Garden was another one. You flip these little icons around and make sure the pot, seeds, and watering can are stacked up on top of each other. I was not a fan of this one, unfortunately, but I can also admit when I'm just not good at a game. And then there's Lainey's Wildflowers. You shoot colorful flowers to make 3 or more in a row and clear everything. Kanani Akina is announced Girl of the Year for 2011. Kanani is from Hawaii, and she is passionate about protecting Hawaiian wildlife. 3 games are added for her. The first game is Onolicious. Saw the cover of this game and I thought it was super cute. I thought, this is gonna be so fun. We're gonna get to make some shaved ice. Literally went, aw, really when I saw what the game actually was. It's another Candy Crush puzzle game, and unfortunately we're going to continue to see more of this as we continue on. American Girl had a ton of these, just in different themes. I also just didn't really like the format of this one, unfortunately. It was just kind of stressful with the characters waiting around on the sides. Sound effects were kind of clunky and not really satisfying. All of the graphics kind of blended together, so it was hard to tell where to swap the ingredients around. And if I took like 3 seconds long to decide, it would point out where to swap them. Let's hope Kanani's other games are better though. Ocean Rider. Damn, the music is abrupt. I was disappointed that when I was looking through the surfboards, they were actually a different color than they were on the sides. It's kind of just a nitpick. The game was okay. You move your arrow keys up and down to make Kanani surf on the water, and she can do some tricks, which is fun. And last but not least is Monk Seal Watch. I can already tell this one's going to be cute. You pretty much just play as a paparazzi for the seal and follow it around with the camera to score points. The seal would swim down below the screen and I wasn't able to get to him, so that was a little odd. Not really sure what I'm supposed to do about that. McKenna Brooks is introduced as Girl of the Year in 2012 and she gets 3 new games. McKenna's story is that she's a gymnast and she has difficulties with reading comprehension at school, so she struggles to balance with both. High Spin was actually pretty fun. You help McKenna jump to each beam and try to get as high as you can. It was kind of giving Jess's waterfall jump, but in reverse. The music also weirdly reminded me of Sims 3 music. I think I would have really liked this one as a kid, especially if I really liked McKenna's doll. Finally, another Girl of the Year game that isn't totally bad. McKenna's Word Fetch. In this game, you have to aim the arrow at the correct distance for her dog to run into the correct letter so you can spell out the word. It's pretty cute and simple. Not much else to say. Kenna's Cups and Cupcakes is like a diner dash style of game. Customers come up to the counter and request coffee or dessert, and it's your job to run around and serve them. The unfortunate aspect of this game is that you can't have McKenna herself do multiple tasks at once. You wanted her to click on the coffee to get that started, and then quickly click on a customer to see what they want. It won't set those actions in order of each other. It will just make McKenna completely disregard you clicking on the coffee and just run over to the customer instead, and so on. That was a little bit frustrating, and if that would have been a fix, I think it would have made the overall experience better for the player. Sage Copeland becomes Girl of the Year in 2013, and she is an artist and a horse girl. She is introduced to the website with 2 games, Sage's Horse Parade and Color Splash. In Horse Parade, you have to build a path so that Sage's grandma's horse can ride along through. It's timed and I'm not very good at this game. I kept failing and I couldn't beat level 1, so I'm just out here trying my best. I struggled with Color Splash too, and honestly had more fun drawing on the screen with the paint than actually trying to figure out how to successfully play this game. I can't lie, I gave up after a few tries. I'm sorry if this game gets better at a certain point. I just kind of lost patience. Sorry, Sage. Your doll is cute, but your games and your movie, you're bad. Isabel Palmer is Girl of the Year in 2014. Isabel is a dancer, and while I always thought her doll was a little bit more bland and boring, I actually really loved her movie. Finally, an American Girl fashion game, Fashion Studio. I'm really surprised we didn't have this sooner. I've been saying the whole time we need, oh god, this is bad. First of all, I'm scared. Outfit choices are unfortunate. Something so girly and pink, I just kind of expected a little bit more pizzazz. This is so bland and boring. Music is blaring in my ears. So I was shocked to see this game looked so app-like. This is the era where American Girl started to release apps over Flash games, so I guess that kind of makes sense. At least we have Isabel's Dance Party. Oh my god, it's Dance Dance Revolution. I always love this style of game. Isabel is still frightening here though. Bring back Fairy Hellum style, please, I beg of you. That is all poor Isabel gets. Isabel deserved better. Grace is the Girl of the Year, introduced to us in 2015. And if you didn't know, Grace is actually played by Olivia Rodrigo in her movie. Grace is a baker and her story takes place in Paris. 3 of her games were added to the website with her introduction. Sweet Success is pretty much the same Flash game as the ones on the Cool Math website where you sell lemonade and coffee. Get your little pastry business going. It's cute. I think I would have liked this as a kid. Bonjour Bonbon is another game where you play as Grace walking her puppy pal, jumping over obstacles, and grabbing dog treats. I like that it gives you the option to level select. You can try to achieve 3 stars on each level, and that's something that would have kept me playing as a kid. And lastly, there's Delicious Duos. It's a matching game where you match the pastries, no sound, and there's only 3 levels. Womp. Leah Clark is Girl of the Year 2016. Leah is a photographer and her story takes place in Brazil, specifically in the Amazon rainforest. She has a game called Rainforest Rose, and again, it's another Candy Crush style game. This was disappointing because I was greeted with this app game immediately on the website that looks like it could have been a lot more fun. Gabriella McBride is our Girl of the Year 2017, and she is our first Black Girl of the Year doll. She is a dancer, she loves poetry, and she has a stutter, so she uses her spoken word poetry to help improve that and speak out on what she believes in. Gabriella gets a poem on the website, I guess. A broken poem game. It was rumored that Tenny Grant was supposed to be Girl of the Year that year, and they last minute swapped her out for Gabriella. They released Tenny with a contemporary line of characters instead, but she had more promotion than Gabriella, and she had 2 games on the website, and she had a larger collection than Gabriella. Poor Gabriella clearly got the short end of the stick here. Once we reach 2018, it seems like the Girl of the Year dolls are no longer receiving any games. I did see that the Girl of the Year Luciana Vega, who aspires to be an astronaut, had either an activity or game or app or something. Unfortunately, I couldn't find anything, but that's sadly the end of it game-wise. 2019 Blair Wilson, 2020 Joss Kendrick, 2021 Kira Bailey, 2022 Corinne Tan, 2023 Kavi Sharma, and our current 2024 Lila Minetti would not receive any Flash games. Some would get apps earlier on, which I'll discuss a little bit later, but those have also vanished into thin air. I actually never owned any of the Girl of the Year dolls, but I'm wondering if any of you did. Which Girl of the Year was your favorite, and which was your favorite of the games? Alright, and finally, we have to talk about our historical doll games. These are the girls that made this brand what it is, and without them, we wouldn't have so many iconic Flash games. So let's start from the top. The earliest year I could find on the American Girl website on the Wayback Machine was 1999. Don't go back any earlier than that. Just trust me, don't. The website was pretty limited in the beginning. There was a section of the website for shopping, and then a separate section of the website called Fun for Girls, which we will continue to see pop up as the years go on. There were some very old games for each of the 6 historical girls available at the time. The games mainly focused on the story of each doll. You could guide them through one of their stories, choosing different paths for the girls to take, or there were a couple of puzzle games. A lot of these games were very educational, teaching children about different aspects of the time period. Kids could also take quizzes on the characters and learn a little bit more about their world. So stumbled upon something that I found interesting, and I'm wondering if anyone else has a memory of this. American Girl had a section of their website dedicated to a character called Amelia. Amelia's notebooks were a series of books that showcased the perspective of a young girl's notebook entries, similar to Diary of a Wimpy Kid or Dear Dumb Diaries. I definitely had one of these as a kid and was just shocked to see this. This part of the website would stick around until it was removed in 2004. So like we discussed earlier, once we hit the year 2000, Kit Kittredge was added to the historical doll group. There weren't too many changes added to the website, but you could tell that the American Girl brand was really starting to grow and wanting to add more features that explored the girls' personalities. Samantha had a little sketchbook game where you could draw and paint. I remember spending a lot of time playing this one. In 2001, Kit had a recess game. You could play marbles, jacks, or hopscotch. Addie's Mancala is added. I'm not sure if this is the exact same version from 2001. We'll see later that some of the games just kind of get an update here and there. There was also some sort of game called Pedal Power for Molly. It looked something like this, but I was unfortunately not able to find any gameplay. Molly's Route 66 Adventure was then added around 2002. Kaya was also added in 2002, along with the game Kaya's Mountain Escape. Kaya was the 8th historical character to join the girls, and she represents early Native America. It also looks like there was a game called Picture Pieces, but I was only able to find the updated version with the Be Forever artwork, which we will talk about later. You could make music with Josefina, and you can sell eggs with Kit. Kirsten had some sort of raccoon game. Listen, I would dive more into these ones, and while the games were educational and they added some more story to the characters, they were also painfully boring. That's right, I said it, I'm sorry. When we look back and think about the games on this website, most of these don't really come to mind. Maybe Kaya's Mountain Escape. American Girl needed to step up their game, and step up their game they would. Once we hit 2003, we start seeing a little bit of a change. Highest Catch of the Day is added, and it's the first game to utilize the Fairy Hellum art style. This game was so sweet and whimsical, and all the little noises were just music to my ears. It's honestly just so relaxing, throwing the fish over to all of the little animals that run by. It's just adorable. I love it. Entering 2004, we stumble upon, oh, look at baby Victoria Justice. Oh my gosh, and Felicity's movie. Anyway, sorry. This is where we start to see some of the more well-known and iconic games popping up on the website, like the NetPet game. I also stumbled upon a game called Nicolette's Flight, which I had never seen before. The game must have not lasted too long on the website due to the Girl of Many Lands line retiring in 2005. I also found another game from the Girl of Many Lands called Naughty Stebdeal, sorry if I'm butchering that name, where you play as the doll character Cecile chasing after her dog. Samantha's Scavenger Hunt is also added this year, where you hunt for things around Samantha's world. Felicity's Colonial Adventure was added in 2005 and was a similar style to the Samantha game. Navigate around Felicity's world, clicking and learning about different aspects of her life, while also playing mini games like making tea or taking care of one of her horses. Now, 2006 is a great year for the historical girl games. Kirsten gets a new game called Winter Stars, which I absolutely love. The aesthetic of this game is so calming and pretty. You play as Kirsten and have her jump, causing her reflection to jump higher into the sky and collect the stars in her reflection. This art style really just brings so much magic to the characters and their story. It was a really interesting concept and honestly made me appreciate the doll more, oddly enough. And then we also get another iconic game called Freewheeling Friends. You and your friend can go head to head racing each other as Samantha and Kit. I always wanted to play as Kit, obviously. Also, while recording this, I tried playing as both and it did not go well. But I have such special memories tied to this game. I used to play this one with my childhood friend who passed away a few years ago. Her and I would sit and play this one together for so long, and she would have a hard time with competitive games, so I would just kind of fail the game on purpose, kind of let her win. I miss her every day, and I'm just so glad that I have this really special memory with her, sitting at the computer, playing this game for hours together at 9 years old. This is why childhood nostalgia is so important for so many people. Not the only reason why, but it's a big thing. There were so many memories and moments made as kids sitting at their computer and playing these games alone and with their friends. It's just really special and cool. Sorry for the little tangent there. Make sure to leave me a comment and let me know your favorite memory tied to these games. It also gets Railway Adventure. Could not find any working version of this game, so let me know if it's any good. I most likely thought it was boring as a child. Whoops. Josefina finally gets her iconic game. By this point, each historical doll had at least 2 games each, and Josefina had just been stuck with that piano game for so long. Lucky for her, she ends up getting a really awesome one. You play as Josefina, running around, buying and selling items at the Santa Fe market in order to purchase what her father needs. You load those items into the wagon to progress. Not only was this game so much fun for me as a kid, but it did a great job of teaching you a little bit about money and taught you some Spanish words along the way. Also, side note, I had to retake the American Girl doll quiz, and apparently I'm most likely like Josefina. I remember taking this one so many times, just really trying to get Kit. By 2007, Felicity was the last of the girls to only have 1 game on the website. You play as Felicity riding on her horse. Game is okay. I feel like it could have functioned a little bit better if it had been made by Fairy Hellum. It's just incredibly easy to run into the fences and logs because the jump time doesn't execute as well, but I'm sure with practice the game becomes more enjoyable. Molly also got an additional game called Victory Garden. Pretty much just move these vegetables around to create 3 in a row. We've all seen it before. Another sweet game, pun intended, that joined the website in 2007 is Kirsten's Honeybees. I swear Kirsten gets the cutest games. In this game, you play as Kirsten as she's trying to earn money to buy books for school. You plant flowers, water them, and call the bees over so they can get back to their hive and make the honey needed for Kirsten to sell. It's so peaceful and relaxing. I honestly wasn't playing fast enough because I was just taking in the game's atmosphere. I could fall asleep to this, honestly. I think I've just decided I want to live in these games. There was also a game called The Mystery of the True Heart, which featured a few of our historical girls. I actually don't really remember this game on the website, weirdly enough. Maybe it wasn't promoted that well? You get to choose between 4 of the historical girls to play one of their mini games. Samantha gets a jewelry puzzle game where you drag multiple gems in a row and try to collect diamonds. Molly gets a memory game where you try to find 6 objects in this Hollywood-themed room. Kit gets a puzzle game as you guide her through this museum, and then Felicity gets a little tile game where you fill up the wagon with tiles until you complete an image. After you complete each minigame, you'll end up with a piece of code that you will end up putting all together and unlocking the last game. Unfortunately, I was only able to play each one singularly. I couldn't play them all together so that I could get the entire code. I'm not really sure what the last game would have looked like. I wasn't really able to find any videos either. Let me know in the comments if you actually know what the big reveal is or what the 5th game ended up looking like. I think the overall idea is a cool concept. I wish I enjoyed the mini games a little bit more, and I kind of wish we were able to get more games where the historical girls interacted with each other. They're together yet separate in this one. Overall, it's still pretty interesting. Julie Albright also joined the girls in 2007 as the 9th historical doll. Julie represents the 1970s. She was also released with a best friend doll in her collection, Ivy Ling. Her first game to join the website is Groovy Hoops, where you could play single player or multiplayer with your friends as you throw basketballs in the hoops and collect points. She also got another game that same year called New Year's Nights, where you play as this really awesome dragon lighting up lanterns with its breath for Chinese New Year. I really liked trying to hit the ones that triggered the fireworks in the back. Alright, 2008. I just want to point something out real quick before we dive into the games. When 10-year-old Maya hopped onto the American Girl website and was greeted with this image, she lost it. You don't understand how excited I was. My favorite girl getting her own movie in theaters, and it's actually good. It has a stacked cast. Watch it, it's iconic. Addie gets a game called Button Up. It's a simple game with pretty music. You collect buttons of the same color and try not to run into the other ones with a limited amount of time. I could see little Maya getting frustrated at this one, but adult me was really enjoying it. Addie deserved some better games though. So do a lot of them. I think they all deserved the upgrades that Kirsten was getting. And lucky for her, Addie does get another game that year called A Fair Day. And it's another Candy Crush style game. Come on, American Girl. Kit got a game called A Day at the Zoo this year. As she should, because this year is her time to shine with this movie. There are 4 mini games within this game. The first is Sea Spell, where you play as a sea lion, swimming in the water and circling letters to form words hangman style. The next one is Feeding Time, where you have to feed animals their correct food. Then there's Tiger Nursery, where you're tasked with taking care of tiger cubs. And finally, Monkey Puzzle, which I was not able to find or play, but I'm going to guess it was a monkey puzzle. The game isn't bad, it's fine. I may have liked it as a kid, I just really wish Kit got some better games. Once we hit 2009, we get a game called Kaya's Search. You play a series of puzzles to guide her along her journey to the meadow, forest, and river. Each time you guide her to one of the spots on the map, the puzzles get harder. This one was pretty fun. It was a nice little update from Kaya's Mountain Escape. Julie also gets a new game called Julie's Punch Buggy, which was also one of the last games I played on the website for sure. Unfortunately, every time I tried to launch the game, it just was very broken. At least, I don't think it's supposed to do this, right? They're just staring at me. I'm scared. I want my mom. I also tried to launch the game on Flashpoint to see if it would work there. I remember I liked this one when I was little. Rebecca Rubin joins the Historical Girls in the month of May 2009. Rebecca is from the year 1914, representing early 20th century America during the second wave of European immigration and Jewish American culture. I remember being a little bit offended the year she came out because they were retiring Samantha shortly after and it just felt like they were replacing my girl. Rebecca gets a game called Russian Dolls. You have to match the top of the Russian doll heads to the bottom based on their color. The game is fine. I just wish it had some better sound effects, maybe a little bit easier to move your mouse around, but I could see myself getting stuck on this one. Rebecca also gets a game called Smashing Dishes. You aim a ball at these plates and they bounce around like a pinball machine, eventually cracking and disappearing. I was a little disappointed that I wasn't just flinging dishes at a wall and smashing them. That sounds a little violent though. 2010 is a big change for the American Girl website. Immediately, I was greeted with an advertisement for something called Inner Star University. Right away, it's looking like it's going to be a virtual world of some kind. For those who don't know, Truly Me is a line of American Girl dolls that are kind of like a blank canvas. They don't really have personalities or names. You pick one that kind of looks more like yourself. You don't have to, but that's kind of the idea. It went through many different name changes. The actual line was called Just Like You when I was a kid, and at this time they decided to change it to My American Girl, and this was clearly becoming a focus for the brand. Interstar U was American Girl's virtual world. As I'm sure many of you remember, virtual worlds were really taking off around this time. There were tons of Webkinz ripoffs left and right. This is kind of what American Girl was doing, except using their My American Girl dolls. Once you bought your My American Girl doll, it came with a secret code that would give you access to the virtual world. You could play games, shop, dress up your doll, and more. It's actually funny because when I was younger and I was Webkinz obsessed, I used to think this would be such a cool concept for American Girl, and they ended up doing it, but I was out of all of those phases by that point. And now I'm back into them, so full circle. For those who weren't on Interstar U and were still playing the Flash games on the website, Beetle Shoe is a new Addy game that was added at some point between mid-2009 and early 2010. It's a similar concept to the Spring Flowers game where tomatoes grow in Addy's vegetable garden, and your job is to shoo the bugs away before they make the tomatoes fall off. Addy also gets another game called Summer Delivery, where you're tasked with keeping a cloud over Addy and her father's wagon to stop an ice block from melting and spoiling the food on their deliveries. The game is pretty challenging and it's a cute addition. At this point, Addy has 6 games on the website, while most of the other girls have 2 to 3. She is truly carrying. But Molly is also in the running. She starts getting some games added here too. The first one is called Blanket Blitz, where you swap colored squares to match the pattern on the knit blanket Molly is making. I was so bored. I'm sorry. I feel like a lot of the newer American Girl games were very enjoyable, but not this one. There's a game called Skywards, which was super crunchy right away with the graphics and the sound, which I was a little surprised for 2010. It's pretty much just a typing game, so if you were looking to strengthen your typing skills as a kid, this would have been the game for you. This one looks promising though because I saw a dog on the front and I was immediately sold. Molly's Pop Top Pups. Choose to play as Molly's puppy, Bennett, or Emily's puppy, Yank. You control the puppy and collect as many bottle caps as you can while trying to avoid the obstacles around you. It's not super easy to control the dog, which gives it some challenge. This is definitely the best Molly game so far. As we head towards the middle of the year, the website is absolutely filled with games, and there's still so much more to come. Josefina has a new game called Josefina's Fiesta. This game is pretty cute. You drag different meals to the table for each one of Josefina's family members. Addy's Cookie Letters is a new Addy game. The game is just another spelling game, unfortunately, but at least it's a little better than Molly's Skywards. Also, apparently the game is homophobic, so there's that. Decorative Doilies, a new game for Rebecca. In this game, customers come up to Rebecca's father's shoe store and request her crocheted doilies. It's your job to hand them the one that matches. And RIP my girl Kirsten, she was retired at the end of the year 2011. Wow, this website is looking very different. Interstar University is getting promoted heavily now. In March of 2011, Felicity is retired along with her best friend Elizabeth. Always crazy to me the ones that they choose to retire because I always thought that they were the more popular ones. They tend to go for the older dolls in the collection, but still, I feel like all of these girls were really popular. Later on in the year, 2 American Girl dolls that I completely forgot about joined the historical line. Cecile Ray and Marie Grace Gardner. They are from the year 1853, which is kind of a replacement for Kirsten since she was 1854. They have a different background though, as their story takes place in New Orleans. So naturally that means the girls would get new games on the website. What is this? Okay, 2011 is quite the change. Is this how the website looks from here on out? There's all the cute stuff around it. It looks like they did get a couple of games, but unfortunately I wasn't really able to access them. And there was Cecile Pecan Toss, where you aim pecans or pecans. Pecan, where you aim pecans at Cecile's pet parrot. Molly gets a new game, Molly's Paper Chase. This game is really cute. It kind of feels like a combination of the morning walk and freewheeling friends. I will say it felt a little like maybe the game was broken. I figured that it was supposed to show this little red triangle moving ahead to catch up with the dog. I could be wrong on this. I just assumed that would be the case. In 2012, Rebecca gets a new game called Rebecca's Rooftop release. You draw a line for each pigeon and guide them to their correct rooftop. This game was a cute concept, but pretty boring. Also, the pigeon noises at the end kind of creeped me out. Honestly, Rebecca's games are just not my favorite. Caroline Abbott is the 13th historical doll to join the line of girls. Caroline's story takes place during the War of 1812. I honestly thought she was a super cute addition to the lineup. She is introduced with 2 new games. The first game is called Caroline's Sailing Adventure. You steer your ship left and right, pick up cargo, and sail back home. You're given a certain weight goal that you need to achieve, and you don't want to bring home too much or too little. There was also Caroline's Fishing Game, which I liked a lot more, and that's really all for the year 2012. This is where I think the downfall of the website truly begins. Not only is American Girl putting all of their efforts into their new virtual world, but Flash games are starting to become less and less relevant as mobile games are really taking off. And American Girl was really jumping into that as they were turning their Flash games into mobile games, which I understand. They were moving forward with the times and hopping on what was trending, kind of like what they did with creating this website in general. It is sad though to see less love go into the website as time goes on. I also want to add before we hop into 2013 that I understand that these next few years are years that other kids grew up with and I didn't. I know that some of these games or apps or the virtual world Interstar U might mean a lot to other people. Obviously, I am more nostalgic for the 2003 to 2010 era of the website. We are all allowed to have preferences in which games that we liked more, and if you liked any of the games that I didn't end up liking, that is totally okay. I still want to make note of the games though that I don't think are the best quality. There were some older games that I didn't think were great either. Kids also deserve good quality games and good quality toys, and American Girl is a corporation at the end of the day, and they're going to go for what makes them the most money. And once we specifically jump into the Be Forever era, which we're making our way towards, this is already an era that has a lot of criticism from the American Girl community. So with all of that in mind, let's see what we have in store for us the next few years. Taking a look at 2013, it's pretty clear that American Girl was a lot more focused on their Girl of the Year dolls than they were their historical dolls. The historical dolls stopped getting movie releases altogether. They were retiring their old dolls, they were coming out with new ones that just weren't selling the same. There's just something about the website at this point lost its charm from the early days. And I am actually surprised to say that they were still putting out games on the website. I honestly thought they might have been done by now. Caroline got another game. Take a guess what it's about. You guessed it. Sailing. Pretty much it's just a stacker game where you stack cargo on top of each other and try to keep it above a specific line. I'll admit, I kind of got hooked on this one for a little while. My girl Kaya got another game this year, which I'm happy to see. You play as Kaya racing on her horse. You collect the leaves above you to move faster. And I have to say, I really enjoyed this one. Could really see kids liking this. Definitely one of the best horse games on the website so far. It also looks like American Girl got its first Bitty Baby game. I'm actually surprised. Bitty Babies have been around since 1995. I would have thought they'd have a spot on the website already. I believe this game was called Piano Star and there were some star matching elements to it, but I couldn't find the game anywhere. Julie gets a new game called City Bike Ride. The game is cute. It's kind of a toned down version of the morning walk, which we've seen American Girl try to remake a few times now. You're never beating the queen, okay? Click to jump and the game does the pedaling for you. I will say the game would have been more satisfying if it didn't pick up and slow down when you reach the hills. I get that that might add some more challenge, but it didn't really flow like I wanted it to. In 2014, for our historical girly pops, Rebecca gets a game called Race to the Theater. This game was painful. It's such a fun concept being able to race on a board game against your friend. Pretty much the entire game is spent clicking on the spinning clock and watching your piece move across the board. That's it. Oh, and you get trivia questions, but I don't know anything about Rebecca. If you don't know her story, you're just guessing. Lame. Sorry, Rebecca. Oh my god, finally my girl Kit gets another game. My girl has been struggling with some of the worst games on the website next to Samantha and Felicity. The game is called Extra Extra, and extra it was. The music I was met with this game, the noises, the gameplay, I was overstimulated. I was kind of hoping maybe this game would be a little bit more relaxing, kind of like Kirsten's little honeybees, and maybe you're taking care of the chickens and you're gathering the eggs and it's all rainbows and sunshine. No, that game was anything but relaxing. 2014 is off to a rough start game-wise. And oh no, I can see why it's happening. Nobody wants your fresh approach. A little background on what's happening here. Be Forever was a rebrand of the historical girls. It was supposed to be kind of a refreshed take on the historical line as a way to connect with a new upcoming generation of kids. All of the dolls got new meat outfits, which were very controversial. I personally prefer the original meat outfits over the Be Forever outfits. Many have said that the outfits do not reflect their time periods as well, or that people feel that some of them are just downright ugly or really lacking in quality. They also removed Molly from the line and they added Samantha back, and they changed the art style on the books, which you'll see with the games. Anyways, moving on from that tragedy, let's finish off the year 2014 with a bang. Be Forever Endless Style. Another fashion game, maybe? And thank God, because we need something else from Isabel's hot mess. Okay, unfortunately, it's just as bad. Maybe slightly better, but not by much. The actual concept could have been a cute idea. I think it's really cute that it shows off each girl's unique style preference based on her time period, even though their outfits are the Be Forever outfits, which makes my eyes twitch a little bit. I love when the games show off more of their story and personality. And it took us this long to get a game about their clothes, which I think would have been so fun to learn about. But then you just create this generic character and dress her in modernized versions of their clothes. I don't know, just kind of felt empty and lifeless. 3 more historical girl games were also added by the end of the year. Samantha gets a new game called Sweet Scoops. Samantha wants to help raise money for the orphanage by selling ice cream sundaes. Ingredients rain from the heavens and you're tasked with catching them in the correct order. Josefina gets a game called Harvest Helper. You help Josefina plant crops and harvest them. The menu will tell you exactly what vegetables you'll need to harvest and how many you'll need, and you also shoo these relentless bunnies away. Oh my gosh, they were stressing me out. That's what I get for making them jump into the void earlier. And last but not least, Kit gets a new game. Please be a good one, please be a good one. Recycled Racers. This looks oddly familiar. I kid you not, I went, oh my god, really? Did they literally replace Free-Willing Friends with this? Listen, I love Kit. I love Ruthie. But what the hell? There was something so cute and special about playing this game with your friend as 2 different American Girl dolls from 2 different time periods racing alongside each other. Like they were breaking the 4th wall. If someone was more of a fan of Kit or more of a fan of Samantha, you got your choice. Sorry, I recognize I'm being dramatic. That was just a little disappointing. If anything, I always thought about how cool it would be to add more historical characters to this game. We don't really get any of the girls interacting with each other. I get they are from different timelines, but these are still fictional stories, and when kids are playing with these dolls in their own home, these dolls from different historical time periods are interacting with each other. My Kit doll was coming along to my friend's house to play with her Felicity. Kids were making their Addie doll and their Kaya doll and their Julie doll all be best friends. They could have just played into it a little bit, just a little bit. These characters made you feel part of their world. Also, American Girl retired Ruthie this year. What are they doing throwing her in a game like this? All right, moving on. I'm sorry, I'll get over it, I promise. By 2015, there are very few of the old American Girl games on the website. There are no net pet games, only 1 coconut and licorice game, and nearly every historical girl game is gone except for their Be Forever puzzles. The iconic Josefina game is gone. Kirsten's Beautiful games are gone. Highest Catch of the Day and Addie's Mancala did survive. Just a shame to see it all go. Mary Ellen is added to the lineup of historical dolls this year. She is from the 1950s. Mary Ellen's Seaside Diner Hop is cute. It's another Diner Dash style game, and it's executed a little bit better than the McKenna one in my opinion. I was disappointed that the pickup part of it wasn't actually picking up the food and skating over to the car. Just kind of clicked on it. Why do I have a tray if I'm not going to use it? Samantha gets another game called Dream Climb. Hop up the tree as Samantha and gather apples while avoiding falling acorns and flying birds. This game is pretty cute. It was kind of like Jess's waterfall jump a little. Josefina gets a new game called Petal Patch. Match the flowers to their other half and dive more and more into the center of the puzzle before you run out of moves. Interstar U also shuts down in November of 2015. And that is the end of 2015. Rough year. I have a feeling we're coming to a close. 2016. Melody Ellison is the 15th historical girl representing the 1960s. I think this doll is so adorable, definitely one of the cutest of the newer dolls in my opinion. She gets a game called Business is Blooming. The game is one of the better ones at least. You put flowers together and try to match what the customer ordered. I mean, it didn't make me want to tear my hair out or anything. I've been playing a lot of American Girl games, okay. In 2017, Felicity makes a comeback with the Be Forever line. We also get our 16th historical doll this year named Nanea Mitchell. She represents the 1940s in Hawaii, specifically when the US entered into World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor. She is such a cute doll. I think I would have loved her as a kid. There are no other games added in 2017. In 2018, Nanea gets I don't know if I would call this a game or like an activity. Well, you can design your own lay. It wasn't great, it didn't work super well. It also looks like they're saying farewell to the contemporary characters. Were these ever really favorites though, bestie? 2018 is all the apps. It seems like there's an app called American Girl World. Unfortunately, there are only images of these apps and I can't really play them myself to show you guys. Let me know if you played any of the American Girl apps and which one was your favorite. There are no updates in 2019. The Be Forever branding was removed in 2019, although many of the historical dolls today are still stuck in the godforsaken Be Forever outfits. In 2020, Courtney Moore would join the historical girls representing the 1980s. As we know, Flash itself shut down in 2020. There were a couple other games on the website around this time, but I'm not entirely sure if they were made with Flash or using another game developer. The games were more so just pushing Truly Me dolls. The first one is American Girl Fashion Show. They also added Truly Me Squad by the end of 2021. You choose a Truly Me girl and ride a scooter, avoiding obstacles in your path. I did not like it. There are no more games on the website by the end of 2022. So what does AmericanGirl.com look like now? Well, this is the website currently. They did bring back a few of the historical dolls in their original outfits, which is nice to see. You have 3 new historical dolls, Lottie Wells from the 1920s, and the new twins, Isabel and Nikki Hoffman, which represent 1999, believe it or not. And yeah, there are no games unless you count this as a game, which American Girls seems like they try to act like it is. Honestly, just a jump scare. I did not like this creepy land. I don't find American Girl dolls creepy, but they're looking at me right now. Let's take a moment to talk about some of the best games and some of the worst games on the website, just for funsies. Again, this is all completely biased and just my opinion. You do not have to agree with me. Definitely let me know in the comments which were your favorite and your least favorite. My top least favorite were Extra Extra, Rooftop Release, Horse Parade, Color Splash, Molly's Route 66 Adventure, Be Forever Endless Style, Fashion Studio, Pizza Garden, Blanket Blitz, and Ceramic Studios. My top 10 favorite games in no particular order: The Morning Walk, Free Willing Friends, Net Pet, Pet Grooming Studio, One Magical Night, Josefina's Santa Fe Market, Winter Stars, Jess's Waterfall Jump, Honeybees, and Summer Shells. Wow. That was a lot more games than I expected to go through. I originally chose this subject because I thought it was going to be a shorter one so I could get this video out faster for you guys. Little did I know there were so many more games on the website that I didn't remember. American Girl is such a nostalgic and iconic brand for so many out there. I know so many 2000s babies grew up with this website and love it just as much as I do. Definitely let me know in the comments which game is your favorite and who was your favorite doll. I love hearing about all of your stories in the comments and all of your memories growing up with these games. And make sure to let me know which 2000s websites you'd like for me to explore next. And if you want more nostalgic videos, make sure to hit like and subscribe to my channel if you can. It helps me out so I can keep making more nostalgic videos for you guys and unlock all of those memories hidden in the back of your subconscious. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter at myfaithdraws if you ever want to catch up and see what I'm doing over there too. Thank you all so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.